Hi everyone, I'm Krista Seiden, Analytics Advocate at Google. And today, in this quick tip video, I'm going to tell you what you might want to look at to test if you have a sign-up flow on your website. So with that, let's go ahead and jump right in. On your screen right now, you can see the Google Analytics Solutions website. This is our marketing website. Specifically, we're on the Analytics 360 Suite page. And you can see here that we have a big green button that says Talk to Sales. Now, when you click that big green button, you are taken to our sign-up flow or our contact form for going ahead and submitting your information to talk to a sales representative. It's actually in two different screenshots here because it's a fairly long form. So that's kind of a good idea of what one type of sign-up flow might look like. Another here is the G Suite website. And this is where you can get Docs and Drive and all of those different products to use for your own businesses. So you can see in the upper right-hand corner, they have a big green button that says Get Started. Now, if you go ahead and click that Get Started button, you're going to be taken to a sign-up flow that is actually 3 different pages and 3 different steps. And there's a progress bar going across the top. So you can see here that step 1, and then once you go ahead and hit Next, you get to step 2. And finally, step 3, where you would go ahead and agree and sign up for a trial of G Suite. So there's a couple of different examples of what sign-up flows might look like on different websites. Now let's go ahead and look at a couple of different examples of what you might want to test if you have such kind of a sign-up flow. So if you do have a sign-up flow on your website, you're likely looking to collect as much customer information as possible without losing a lot of people along the way of that form. So things that you might want to look at is simplifying text or bullet points, changing CTAs on that form. I know for the G Suite page, we often look at different CTAs to get people into that form. Right now it says Get Started. Previously they'd had different CTAs of Try Now, Start Free Trial, and so on. You might want to look at, especially for forms like this, reducing the number of fields required. Now, oftentimes in a sales process, you need to collect a certain amount of information to be able to have your sales teams go ahead and contact a potential lead. But if you can reduce the number of fields, every field that you're going to reduce is likely going to increase the number of actual conversions of submitting that form. You could also try reducing the number of pages or steps in that process if you have a multi-page sign-up flow. And adding or removing a progress bar, because oftentimes that progress bar can have real impact on letting people know how much more they have to complete before they can actually sign up. Another great tip here is to use Google Analytics to find areas of drop-off. So back to the Google Analytics site and that contact form for talking to sales there, this is actually the event tracking that is implemented on that form. And you can see what I've done here is I've implemented each field, first name, last name, job level, as you go down that form to fire when somebody has gone ahead and input their text in that field. And I've sorted this report based on unique events. So you can see it's actually a pretty nice funnel as they move down through that contact form, with one exception down at the bottom before submit or after submit, and that is the region. And this is because this is an optional form field. There's a couple of interesting things here, though, that I see from this data. So if you look at line 9 in particular, the submit line, you can see that the total events is 2,905, whereas the unique events is 569. So that actually lets me know that there might be something going on here in this form. People are clicking that submit button over and over, but they're not actually able to submit. That could be because they're not filling out all the fields, or that they're trying to submit before they're ready. And that's actually the case. What we found out when we did a little investigation was that it wasn't clear to people that a lot of these fields were required. So they were skipping them, hitting submit, and then they weren't able to progress. So what we did was we went ahead and made that little asterisk that said it was a submit field more prominent. And we could have tested that. We could have done a number of tests here to try to get people through that process with a little more ease. Another thing that you should look at if you have a multi-step sign-up flow, like the G Suite page, is potentially reducing the number of steps into a single page. And this is a test that they actually ran a while back, going from 3 separate pages to 1 page. And there's a lot of different things that you would want to consider here. Obviously, there's still a number of steps that people need to fill out on that one-page form. Things to think about would be if you show the whole form at one time, because it might look kind of long, or if you go ahead and as they complete a section, show another section of that form. So cool things to test for your sign-up flows, and it's going to be really website specific whether or not they work for you or they don't. So a few other signals to look for if you do have a website with a sign-up flow. Conversion funnel drop-off, I think I've covered this pretty well already in this section, but definitely analyze the different steps of your conversion funnels and see if there's one area that really might be causing trouble for your customers to get through, and try optimizing that spot. Keywords, using your AdWords keyword data to find high converting keywords and using that same messaging on not just your landing pages, but also into your sign-up flows can really help in that consistency of messaging to bring people all the way through that conversion process. And then finally, monitor high-performing traffic channels and target specific test content towards those traffic sources. So there you go. I've given you a few different examples of what a sign-up flow might look like and several different examples of what you might want to consider testing if you do have a sign-up flow.